And in other news, New York's largest matzah factory is shutting down. The Manhattan facility, which produced the cracker used in Jewish ritual ceremony, is citing high costs as its reason for closure. Now, the question on everyone's mind as Passover fast approaches: who will rise to the occasion and meet demand without letting the dough rise, of course? Back to you, Andrew.
It wasn't that we shut down. It's just we realized that we could be smarter. So we decided to restructure our supply chain and find a more economical solution.
You outsourced.
What do you expect? The matzah business has always been about efficiency. And Meltzer's is proud of that because in the end, we make something that meets our clients' spiritual needs at a good price. And if you want to make your matzah at home, by all means do so.
Well, then who did you outsource the production to?
We found this village, Chelm, and...
Surely you've heard of the stories, the reputation as far as...
Intelligence? The thinking was, look, this is a town with a very strong Jewish community, 300 years of experience with kosher certification, and they were competent engineers and managers. Look at the watermill. But admittedly, we didn't expect communication to be quite so difficult.
So the labor costs are low?
Let's just say they asked to be paid in herrings.
Of course.
I was the corporate plant supervisor in Chelm. You must understand, Chelmites are not dumb. They take things very seriously. When the factory opened, there was this whole debate over the efficiency of the production line. See, here at Meltzer's, we're all about minimizing waste.
The American matzah factory is horribly inefficient. Look, ingredients go in, and all this outflow is just lost as waste.
I said, what you're calling waste is the actual matzah, the product we're trying to sell.
No! I don't understand what you're saying, sir. I don't understand. What are you saying? I don't know. What are you saying?
You don't understand. If we bring our waste down to zero, we could maximize efficiency.
It sounded ridiculous, but they were really convinced. The dough would start in the hopper, mix, get compacted by 2 sets of rollers, and perforated.
As usual.
But then the conveyor would reroute back into the hopper to mix it all over again.
It's circular economy. Hello, have you never heard this word before?
But wouldn't that dough break the 18-minute rule going around and around? You can't go over 18 minutes between mixing and baking, right?
The halachic rule, yes. I asked about that. But the Chelmites, they assured me their timekeeping system was flawless.
It's simple. We have synchronized atomic clocks. In our superior wisdom, we Chelmites have even considered the timekeeping problem relativistically.
Synchronized atomic clocks?
If the discrepancy between the clocks exceeds 18 minutes, we know that the dough becomes chametz, bread. Easy.
So did they end up producing any matzah?
Well, they pivoted. There was this whole thing where they revamped the line with the low-calorie alternative matzah that was invisible matzah. In other words, nothing. And when that didn't work out, they had a debate over the matzah size, where the only compromise between their executives was the modular matzah idea, just crumbs. It went on and on with them strategizing, me shooting down their ideas for being absurd, and their ideas not working out. It was gridlocked.
I'm getting calls from Meltzer's HQ. Why isn't the factory producing? I said to Mendel, we've invested hundreds of helpings of herrings in this. And after a month, we have nothing to show for it. We need matzah now.
I agree with you, but my workers and I can't compromise our principles. On the other hand, the wisest man is one who admits that he can be wrong, and so I suggest we take this matter to the High Council.
The Council of Chelm sat for 7 days and 7 nights. Sages, rabbis, elders, debating, pondering, until they reached a solution.
We Chelmites are the wisest people on earth. We recognize under these circumstances, however,
that the best arbiter of conduct in a matzah factory is one that exceeds our capabilities.
As the Talmud says, whatever comes from Zain is Zain. Pirkut here is trained on the entire Jewish canon, plus all the engineering textbooks we could find. Therefore, it is more of an expert than any of us.
Credit to the Chelmites. The AI worked wonders. We were shocked, and HQ was very pleased. Then, well, I don't know if it was because of the strikes, or maybe the supply chain, but Pikut started losing it, shutting off every hour for failure prevention.
It's Babkas. Pirkut knew that the least risky option was shutting everything down to prevent disaster, and it did so with perfect logic.
Even its mistakes are precise.
Can't we just tweak the settings?
Why should we? We need another AI to tell Pirkut what to do.
You'd think that would be the end of the issues.
I think I see where this is going.
Seichel understood the assignment for about a week, and then it just stopped caring.
Babkas again. We now just have to install this new AI system, Regesh, which will motivate Seichel to get back to its job.
But then the issue was that after a week, Regesh felt guilty for putting us through all this and had an emotional breakdown. That was before the tariffs.
בשנה הבאה נשב על המרפסת ונספור ציפורים נודדות. ילדים בחופשה ישחקו תופסת בין הבאים לבין השדות. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה